Okay, today I'm going to demo the game of Waffle, which is at wafflegame.net. And what you have to do here is you have to swap letters. You have only a certain number of swaps. It says you have 15 swaps remaining. You have 15 swaps to basically solve the puzzle. It's a little like a crossword. There's words that go across, there's words that go down, and you have to keep swapping letters until you get all the letters to turn green. If a letter is green, it's in the correct slot. It's the correct position. If a letter is yellow, well, it's contained in the word, but it's not in the correct position. So you don't want to swap any green letters. You want to swap letters that are either yellow or gray. And you want to swap as efficiently as possible. And this can be a tricky game, but in looking at this, whenever you see letters that are spaced apart, like this very top word here, I see the E and the I, and whenever you see letters like that, it's usually a good idea to swap those two letters. So I'm going to swap the E with the I, if it lets me. Swap the E and the I. Now it's showing the E is in green and the I is in yellow. That means the I has to be in the middle. So I might as well move that one over. Now the I is green. I've used two moves already. Now what's next? I could look at some other letters and see what fits there. The only letter that seems to fit there is the R for the word pride. So now if I put the R there, it's going to swap the R and the S. The R turns green. That was the correct swap. The S is down here in gray, which means the S is not in that bottom word and also not in this vertical word. So that means the S has to be in the left word going down or the right word going down. I'll just have to remember that. I've got some more letters over here and here, and I got to think about what's next. Now this R has to be contained in the word starting with D and ending with Y. But the letter I might be contained in that word, but it also could be contained in the word going horizontally. So the letters that are part of two different words, it's harder to know where they fall. But if I move the R up to here, I have a 50% chance of it being correct. So I think I'm going to try that. It was not correct. That means the R has to be at the end of the word. Well, I think what I'm going to try doing is swapping these two here. I know the R has to be here. The I could actually be here. Let's do that. I swap the two. They both turn green. Now, I think the word is dirty, the one going down here. So I can take this T, swap with the E. That turned green, that turned green. I got a little lucky there. I've got an E here. Chances are this E goes at the bottom because it's rare to have an A followed by an E. So I'm pretty sure this E goes down here. So I'll move it down there, and I was correct about that. I've got a few more letters to move around. We know the O has to be contained in this word vertically. The E could be really anywhere in this word or in this word. This one down here really can't be a vowel. It doesn't make sense to be a vowel. So really, when I look at the letters that are available, the only letters that really can be is an N or D. So you can look at the letters and you can kind of figure out what goes there. This letter at the bottom, what could that be? Maybe with a D. reedy. I can't think of anything else that fits there. So let's try that. That's correct. I got the D is green. I got a little lucky here. The I was turned green. So now I have two more letters I need here. It would be unusual for the E to fit here because you really never have words where you have three vowels in a row like that. So this E most likely is not going to be here, but it could be down here and it could be up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the E with the O and just see what happens. Okay, well the E is in the correct spot, but the O is not. We know the O really wouldn't fit here, so I'm going to move the O up to here, and that should be a good position for it. That's the only real thing that makes sense. So I'm going to move the O up here. The O turns green, and now I have two N's. Now these N's are both gray, so that means they have to go over here, here, and here. So you know they're both N's. I-N-A-N-E, inane. And that makes sense. Well, where does the S go and where does the T go? Well, it has to be the word stair, S-T-A-I-R. So you can swap the S with the N, you can swap the T with the N, and there it is. It's solved with 3 swaps remaining. And I have a total of 191 consecutive wins, which I'm proud of. It was hard to do. But you have to think about the swaps ahead of time. You have to look a few moves ahead. And if you do that, you should be able to win it. And you can make a few mistakes and still win it. You can either get 5 stars or you can get anywhere between 1 and 5 stars or 0 and 5 stars. But if you don't get 0 or 0 through 5 stars, you lose the game and you have to try the next day. You only have a game per day. So once you solve it, you have to wait till the next day to try this game again. So if I want to share this with friends, I can hit the share button and I can copy this to somebody else and have a friend try. So this is the game of Waffle. And look for my other games